Hey, it's Russ, and just covering in this video a little bit of a chat about correct lifting technique. So there's a long-standing belief that your kind of squat lifting, neutral spine technique is the safest and correct way to lift. Even when you work in like an office and they talk about picking up boxes of paper and things like that, they always talk about manual handling and squatting down to lift up any loads. Also, around 75% of physiotherapists believe that it's safer to lift with a squat technique, a little bit like this. But actually, new research is conflicting with this. So there's actually a study that's looked into whether squat lifting or stoop lifting, which looks a little bit like this, is actually better or more of a risk for back pain. And basically what that study found was the main risk factor for back pain is actually just regularly lifting, regularly bending to lift or squatting down to lift. So regular lifting is actually the bigger risk factor for back pain, or lifting loads that your body isn't used to lifting. So if you suddenly pick something up heavy, there's a risk there for back pain as well. The study actually showed neither technique was actually better for the risk of back pain, stooping or squatting down. There's no correlation between more injuries from picking things up with a round back. And actually, from a neuromuscular perspective, there's apparently more efficiency in lifting with a rounded back, so flex spine stoop lifting. It also showed that interventions where people with back pain are squat lifting instead of bending down to lift has not been shown to improve back pain either. What the study did show was that every case is individual, and if a person finds that bending to lift aggravates the back, then it's probably worth trying a squat lift technique instead, or even not lifting until that settles down a little bit. Or if you're finding that the squat lifting technique is actually affecting your back, then stoop lifting may be the way forwards. And essentially easing off those painful movements until things have settled down a little bit, but keeping moving and try to strengthen in those movements is actually probably the way forwards. Well, the best thing we can do with our bodies is to get strong in all different ranges of motion. If you only ever lift things up with strict form, including in the gym, if you only ever lift things up in strict form, the moment you're out of strict form and load in your body, you're going to have a problem. The best thing you can do is work on getting strong through all ranges of motion, improving your mobility and strength through all various different ranges. And that way you're going to avoid a lot more problems, get stronger, feel better and move better. In Pilates, we do have a real focus on strict alignment and strict form, but at the same time, some of the exercises are taking us through all various different ranges of motion for our backs and hips and whole body really. So we do work on being able to maintain a strict form, but we also work on being able to move through all different ranges of motion. One other interesting fact that came from the study was that most people trying to keep neutral spine squat technique were actually rounding and flexing their spines anyway. And when I look at a lot of my members and people that come to my classes when we're doing squats, I do see that a lot of people, despite trying to keep a neutral spine, do round those backs, and you see it in the gym as well. And another recent study showed that what they call the butt wink, which is where you squat down, just where the tailbone tucks under as you squat down to a certain point. Apparently now, there is, according to this study anyway, there is no link between the butt wink and back pain. You've only got the existing scientists out there to study this, but it is important to know where these studies are, where they might be outdated, where they might be quite weak studies that don't really show us too much, and as with most things, there aren't enough studies into certain aspects to give us good quality information. So anyway, hopefully that has been interesting and helpful. If you've got any questions, please feel free to get in touch with me. I have put details of that study in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will speak to you again soon.